Now, if you see, our patient was having pain at the movements as well. Whenever you are having a pain, for example, during the flexion and internal rotation or the external rotation contractures, you should also keep in mind certain other differentials as well. And when we are talking about the hip joint and hip joint osteoarthritis, the first foremost differential at the hip is actually the femoroacetabular impingement. What is femoroacetabular impingement? It actually is an abnormal articulation with the femoral head with the acetabulum. The problem could be at the acetabulum level, in which it becomes actually the pincer type impingement, in which the acetabulum is actually problematic. It could be increased retroversion, there could be decreased anteversion, or there could be something abnormal, structural abnormality with the acetabulum. Or then it could be problem at the femoral head and neck junction, which could lead to cam type impingement as well. Now, articulation, when there is abnormal articulation of acetabulum with the femoral head and neck, this leads to actually the labral tears and cartilage degeneration, which actually progresses to osteoarthritis. So femoroacetabular impingement may be one of the cause of the secondary osteoarthritis, or it may be one of the differentials of osteoarthritis as well. If you see, this is what is actually happening. Once the acetabulum becomes deformed, whenever during the flexion or abduction this head would hit over here, this would lead to degeneration of the cartilage on this side, eventually leading to osteoarthritis, and the sequelae of the degenerative osteoarthritis would start, eventually involving the whole of the head. But this is actually, whenever there's an abnormal articulation, this is one of the mechanical cause of the osteoarthritis of the hip joint. Clinical features include very similar to the osteoarthritis, groin pain, which is also present in our patient, decreased range of motion, which can also mimic the hip osteoarthritis, because once the contractures are formed, this can occur in the both things. Then there is a restriction of internal rotation. Then, for example, the patient has, once the patient has having some sort of a cam type impingement, there may be abnormal head neck ratio, or there may be abnormally deformed head, which may actually decrease the internal rotation, and patient may have some sort of externally rotated contracture at the hip joint, which may mimic SCAFE, which may mimic hip osteoarthritis eventually as well. Then radiological investigations. And to rule out osteoarthritis, then again you have to get X-rays, pelvis, AP view with both hip joints, and you have to look at the both hips very carefully. If you see it over here, you do not see any reduced joint space. The head is well preserved. There is no osteophyte, there is no subchondral sclerosis, and there is no such thing as subchondral cyst as well. But you have to look at the version of the acetabulum as well as the femoral head. Normally there is an inclination of about 45 degree, or the head is said to be in 45 degree of flexion. Then this along with the 10 to 20 degrees of anteversion. Now this head is usually lying like this, because anteversion is anteriorly and almost this position. Now if this head acetabulum becomes retroverted, or this becomes in decreased inclination, or actually either too horizontal or too vertical, this would lead to some form of impingement, and this may result in a classical pincer type impingement. So you have to look at the X-rays, you look at the crossover sign, you have to look at the version of the acetabulum, whether is it 45 degree, is it too vertical, or is it too horizontal, or is it retroverted, as well as you have to look at the head neck junction as well as the head neck ratio. Along with, you have to calculate the alpha angle on the lateral view as well. This is AP view, but when we are taking a lateral view, you can calculate the alpha angle as well. Now if you see it over here, again this on AP view, you can calculate the head neck ratio is actually that you calculate the area from this up till this, and you can appreciate that how much is actually subluxed laterally. If it is too much subluxing laterally, this may eventually leading to some form of a cam type impingement as well. Now coming to the radiological investigations, when we are looking at the pincer type femoroacetabular impingement, usually you have to look for the crossover sign. What is actually a crossover sign? If you see on the right side, the anterior wall of the acetabulum and the posterior wall are actually coinciding on the AP view exactly like this. But on the if there is impingement, because there is pincer type, in which is where the acetabulum is actually deformed, either acetabulum is too vertical, too horizontal, retroverted, then the problem would be there is structural problem. The walls will not be coinciding like this, rather one wall will be slightly ahead of the other wall. This actually produces a crossover sign. If you see, this is the anterior wall, this is the posterior wall, so that actually produces a crossover sign over the X-ray. This is classical presentation of the pincer type femoroacetabular impingement. Now coming to further radiological investigations in pincer type, either you have a focal anterior acetabular overcoverage leading to crossover sign, or you have actually other type of retroversion at the acetabulum which may lead to this crossover sign. Now coming to the cam type, if you see this right side and the left side, do you see any abnormality? There is definitely sclerosis, crescent sign is there, but if you see acetabulum looks okay. But can you appreciate the head neck ratio? If you see it over here and compare with this is definitely head and neck ratio is disturbed, and this is called as the pistol grip type of a deformity. This is classical presentation of cam type impingement, because if you look at like this, the neck and head look to form a handle of a pistol. This pistol type impingement is termed as cam type impingement. And when you are calculating the lateral angle, you have to calculate the alpha angle as well, in which you can calculate the angle from the shaft, and then you are actually calculating the one line is coming down, and you are calculating the how much it is actually away from the center of the head. This is actually alpha angle. Now coming to the operative treatment. Operative treatment could involve osteochondroplasty, in which there is actually the whole surgical the surgical hip dislocation is done. The labral tears is actually clearly washed out, it's corrected, and then you have to correct the deformity, which is the anatomical problem at the either acetabulum or at the hip joint. This could be done in form of osteotomy at the hip, or at the proximal femur, or at the acetabular level. Osteochondroplasty can be done in form of use of hip arthroscopy as well. If there is mild grade labral tear, they can be simply washed and trimmed as well. But if there is actually a problem is with the cam type, you may require some form of intertrochanteric osteotomy as well. Coming to the other osteotomy, if this is associated with pincer type impingement, then probably due to increased retroversion of the acetabulum, then you require some osteotomy at the acetabulum level. Usually these patients have attained the age of adolescence, so therefore triradiate cartilage is closed. The most likely we have to go for some form of a osteotomy, reconstruction osteotomy, which can be done after the triradiate cartilage is closed, and therefore we go for most commonly the Gans type of osteotomy, for example, which can be done to actually correct the version of the acetabulum, especially in case of the femoroacetabular impingement, if it is occurring due to the pincer type of acetabular impingement.